Hello, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Comic Book Chronicles. I'm your host, Roddy. You can find me at Roddy on Twitter. You can find me at and Blue Sky. You can find me at News Nerds Need on Twitter, and Blue Sky. You can find me at CBCaps on Instagram.
South Carolina with Columbia down the way.
And as I said earlier, that was one of the episodes that I had to end up watching last night. That's funny. Anyway, and the sound effects, that's outside joke, folks. Don't worry about that. It might not even be in the final cut. But the sound effects that you have heard come from none other than our man in Brooklyn, @agent_70 on Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, and Threads.
What's up, everybody? Co-hosting from the Borough of Kings, coming at you live and direct.
I'm just a kid from Brooklyn.
Indeed. And this is the Comic Book Chronicles, as you may well know. And you can find this here show on the Cold Slither Podcast Network, the CSPN.us.
Do it today.
You can also find us on your podcast perusal place of choice, whether it be Apple iTunes, like Apple Podcasts, Google, if they're still doing their thing, Spotify, and the Cold Slither Podcast SoundCloud page.
Make sure to click like, subscribe, and leave us all the positive 5-star reviews, especially on Apple Podcasts, because that definitely helps people find our show.
Also, my cabbages. Somebody will get that reference. But yes, folks, we are here for another episode, and we are just going to go ahead and hit the ground, as they say, running. Actually, Agent 70 is going to start us off with a little discussion on My Hero Academia.
Sure. So, listen, if you are waiting for the dubbed version, what are you doing? And two, that it hasn't, the dub versions haven't come out yet. But if you're a sub person like myself, like a lot of people, the final episode of the adaptation of the long-running manga has finally come out, and it was really effective. It was really good. It was, what I was telling Roddy Cat in our pre-production meeting was that I'm still not used to, following along with a manga, reading it in its entirety, finishing it when it's timely, like when it was released, and then waiting for the adaptation to see how they adapt it. And, that's something relatively new to me. And so to see how the ending, which was a little on the controversial side, maybe a little bit, maybe it fell a little flat in the manga the first time around, for me at least, definitely was far more effective in animated form in this particular format, because the animators and the director and the voice actors really, they add their touch to it. They add that little bit of spice to it. They throw a little bit of extra seasoning on it, and it comes out just that much better. So, for the folks who are waiting for the dubbed version, you've got maybe a couple of more weeks to wait, but it's worth the wait, folks, because it will, you're gonna get some cool payoff at the end, and you can definitely tell that Horikoshi is a fan of American style superheroes, because of some of the things that he kind of drops in at the end of My Hero. Obviously, you could tell during the entirety of the series and the run, but you can see what he's pulling from and what influences he's adopting and adapting into his own superhero work in manga form. And that's it.
Gotcha. There was something I was actually going to ask you about, but I don't remember what it is.
I mean, if there's, there actually are My Hero cartoons still coming out. It's a prequel, and it's My Hero Academia Vigilantes, which explores another side of the superhero culture in the world of My Hero Academia. and that is still going to be active. It's a prequel of sorts, so we're definitely looking at how things were before all of the events of My Hero. So, if you still need a little bit of a fix for fans of the show, you'll still be able to get some going forward.
Oh, and I'm sure there are, even after everything that is already out there, I'm pretty sure there's probably some people that are like, I want more. It's over too soon. I'm like, it's been damn near 10 years.
10 years.
Exactly. So calm your bombs down. Calm
to a certain, I was going to say to a certain extent, we have to respect that, especially in manga format and anime format, these stories do come to an end. Other than One Piece.
Apparently.
One Piece has taken too many cues from American comics in that regard.
Yeah. I was about to say, I'm sure Fairy Tail is not that far behind, but I think it may or may not have entered. I don't know. I don't know anybody who's even watching, reading that. So yeah. But that being the case, though, cool. Like I said, one of these days I'll eventually get around to it. So, I think it was definitely one of those. You know what? This seems like it might be on my Adelaide, but at the time, a little too hyped because being out there on Twitter when it was coming out on the
when it initially dropped,
and people being all over it, and I'm like, all right, you know what? I'll come back. And I did watch it. Actually, I did watch a couple of episodes though. The first couple of episodes,
right.
And then I was like, I'll come back.
It definitely came out when my anime journey was really taking shape.
Mm-hmm.
So it obviously, it definitely had a nice chunk of episodes out already, and then I was able to kind of watch in real time as the remaining seasons were released. So
right.
It definitely came at a good time for myself.
Right, and. In that, you did have a fairly decent bill of balance. It was like, you know what, you got a big one, which is that. Actually, technically, you had a couple of big ones, and then you hit something small. Talking about Haikyuu,
right?
Boom.
Or relatively small. I was going to say relatively.
Yeah, relatively, because that one's even kind of picked up.
Exactly. Like I look at it as different genres, different types of storytelling, and it's not. I mean, a lot of it is shonen, but it's some of it's very different types of shonen stories.
Yeah,
so,
but you picked up on some other stuff though. So
right,
in your journey, so which is still ongoing. So
sure, absolutely.
And speaking of what is ongoing, we are going to go into the books of the week, starting off with G.I. Joe number 16.
G.I. Joe number 16 is written by Joshua Williamson with art by Tom Riley. Colors are by Jordi Belair, and letters are by Russ Wooton. So I will tell you, and I'll let Roddy Cat kind of pick up the ball with this because Cobra Commander and Duke are in a very bad way, dealing with a bunch of dreadnoks who may or may not have all had action figures, right?
Right.
So they're in the two of them are in a bad way. And the dreadnoks are kind of toying with them when lo and behold, the theme song for G.I. Joe hits. I literally was humming it when I turned the page. Right. And obviously, Cobra Commander at the end of the issue is, kind of back for dishing out. He's looking to see if the dreadnoks can take what they were dishing out. But I can tell you that when I opened that particular splash page, I was like,
pretty much. And I was about to say, going on the Cobra Commander thing again, because they did also have a run in his miniseries, which is why they have a beef with him in the first place. But yeah, the funny part about that whole thing, even when like slight spoiler, but there's the panel right before that when somebody's like, "What's that sound?" and Duke said it's something like, "It's the sound of something wonderful" or something like that, or it sounds something great. It was like, and then you turn the page and like you pretty much can't see it, and of course somebody says the thing, so
that's right. They said it. They said it.
So it was like, well, there you go. It's official now. They just hit that bit of they hit of the nostalgia strings.
He'll fight for freedom wherever there's trouble. I'm like, come
Right.
on, man, let's go.
So
Let's go.
But yeah, that was pretty cool. Which of course, this book has had touches like that, going through it. So it's not that big of a surprise. But sometimes it's good to know that it can still have it can still have some good beats. They hadn't used up everything just yet. I mean, we know that for a fact. But anyway, so yeah, the Dreadnoks are welcoming a new person, that new dude into their midst. In my notes, I call him Roadhog, which if you play Overwatch, you know that name, but his name is actually Road Pig, so it's not that real bit different.
It's not that far off.
Yeah.
Right?
So, and then like Agent 7 said, Duke and the Commander kind of are, they were invited to a bonfire. Let's just say, and as the main guests. And everything going on, and a lot of grape sodas all around apparently, because as we get the Dreadnoks kind of share their credo when one of them slips up.
Right.
And then leading to what we just said, and going into the end of this, because we knew some things were going to eventually happen. We did not know how it was going to happen or when, but being that this is like what issue 4 of the 5. Of this arc, I guess, basically. That was the case. Meanwhile, we cut back to a meeting with General Hawk and Destro and crew, which Hawk seemed to be, let's just say, hey, Hawk gets some information and was presented with an offer that he very much
refuse.
That he very much refused. And even pretty much on the way out, told him how he felt about it, which was like, I've never seen Hawk like that before. So, which, again, this is the Energon universe and not the cartoon universe or anything. And I don't recall in Real American Hero whether Hawk kind of had any moments like he ended up having in this one. It was nice that he didn't give away his shots, but at the same time, he probably in that particular situation probably should have aimed a little lower,
right?
Maybe at the person he was kind of taking some frustrations out at before leaving. So, but yeah, Destro kind of gets the memo on that one, and also ends up possibly leading to. And that leading into me, but it will definitely something that's going to come back to with him and the Commander in later issues. So, needless to say, potential click of the week for me, because it was, not just for that one beat, but yeah, for that one specific, but that one's in the running. It was just a good read.
No, I was gonna say that one beat was pretty good.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like it literally was, whatchamacallit, nostalgia fodder.
Mm-hmm.
It was definitely nostalgia inducing.
Oh yeah.
So, I definitely appreciated that splash page.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like it was pretty cool once you see it, and even with us saying what we said about it, you could still get a whole lot out of it.
Oh yeah, because it's a splash page, right? Because it's a turn. You turn the page, it's just like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. So I was like, great, more of this. Thank you. But next up, as I click through stuff that I wish I had gotten a chance to read, DC K.O. Harley Quinn versus Zatanna, #1 one-shot.
So this DC K.O. one-shot of Harley Quinn versus Zatanna is written by Leah Williams with art by Mirka and Dolfo. Colors are by Romulo Fajardo Jr. and letters are by Steve Wands. So this ends up being a fun little face-off with, in the DC K.O. style, right? We have to kind of quickly do an overview of what the premise here is that all these folks are in a tournament to see if they are worthy enough or unworthy enough, there's 2 ways to look at it, to take on the power of Darkseid and take on the powers of Darkseid, right?
Right.
I don't want to make it sound like they're looking to to fight him. They're looking to take over the power of Darkseid. So
although that could very well happen.
Right. But at least the current premise of this KO series is the former, not the latter, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in this situation, we have Harley Quinn setting up, squaring off with Zatanna, and at first blush, it's a very lopsided fight. You would think it was, and Harley makes a point of it, in all of her banter. But Harley fights dirty the way a lot of Batman villains do. And it's definitely a back and forth. It's not a 2-page story. It's definitely a full book. It's a little bit stretched out because I would think that Zatanna would, after figuring out that Harley was going to play dirty, really take it to Harley Quinn. But ultimately, we kind of get a pretty straightforward winner. The way a lot of these KO books are written. So, what did you think, Roddy?
So that was the other thing I was going to ask you about. So, in all of because this is the first week I've actually read any of these books or these side books, have they all been going to round 3?
Yes.
Yeah, I kind of figured because the 2 I've read this week, which we'll get to the other one later on. Like that seems like that's the thing they've been going and it makes sense because I was like, well, what else are they going to do outside of the stuff they cut to? In the midst of
these they don't want to shortchange. Right, they don't want to shortchange their characters. It's very much in the vein of Marvel versus DC, where they're going to have clear-cut winners, but it won't be like super lopsided.
Right. So in this one, you kind of have Harley going, dare say, classic Harley in a sense, because there's, some fourth wall breaking because you got a little bit of that from her in a little bit, and. Her, as Agent 70 said, playing dirty, and she pretty much goes almost full on The Shining in the beginning as soon as because the only thing you don't hear, and granted this is another movie, so it doesn't. So what I just said is probably not gonna make much sense, but she basically does everything but come out wherever you are,
right
in the beginning of that until supposedly we find out, that. This was all part of a plan, sort of. Or at least the way it comes out in the end. That's not a spoiler. You have to read that for yourself. But we also see a character going Super Saiyan, or at the very least, KO Ken. in relation to what's going on. So,
I would have noticed it if they had gone blue. Like Super Saiyajin Blue,
right? Yeah. So yeah, they technically only went Kaioken, so they didn't necessarily go Super Saiyan. But that just people know what that means when you hear that. Not too many people are going to say, "Oh, they went Kaioken." I'm like, you're just a big nerd. That's all that is. And I embrace it. So fine. So yeah, Sweet 16 continues. This is round 5. We will hear about round 4 in a little while. But yeah, the Harley Quinn Zatanna thing, like Agent 7 said, you pat it out, but it kind of works out in a way. Like, yeah, while it seems like it would be one, lopsided one way or the other, they did what they could with it, I suppose. Right. Because the only thing they would have done was like, all right, just end it all right then and there, and maybe put some other stuff in, but then there would be no reason to have this versus that person. One-shot books. So they realized that. But I enjoyed reading it, so it was cool. It was all right. The only other thing I was saying in passing is that Harley channels the Fujis and also the Delphonics originally, but that would be the thing. So and a thing that she says. So, but of course that would be a thing that would be said in a situation like this. And at that, folks, we will move on to the next book that we have in common, which is Black Cat number 5.
Not necessarily a 5.
Exactly.
So apparently, Black Cat number 5 is written by G. Willow Wilson with art by Gleb Melnikov. Color art is by Brian Reber, and letters are by our favorite lettering Python, the hardest working letterer over at Virtual Calligraphy, VC's Joe Caramagna. So we have here probably like the first of 2 interactions between the main protagonist of the story and cops that I'm going to highlight this week. And, it's obviously very interesting to see how this, not version of Black Cat, but the story that G. Willow Wilson has been telling, which kind of adopts and adapts several, kind of current trends, current ways of operating that, that she's adopting or adapting for the page and for this character, specifically involving social media and prestige and fame on social media. And, there's a lot of really cool bits. There's a cool entrance by another member of the Spider-Man corner of the Marvel Universe. And we get to see, kind of a fun interaction. It's something that, Jed McKay did a very good job of doing and developing over time. And, now we've got G Willow, adding on to this particular dynamic, this character dynamic and relationship. And, ultimately, I'll hand it off to Roddy Cat with this. We get a little bit of closure, not even closure, but just like it looks like there's a tease for next issue.
Mm-hmm. Right, which was the thing that when we were talking in the pre-show was like that was the thing that kind of threw me off. And that was before. Before I talked to Agent 75, I had found some information out about that situation. But yeah, I was like, why does this book seem like it's ending, but going to go into another? I mean, going to go into the next issue when we originally thought this was a 5-issue miniseries, which I guess it still brings me to a point real quick. It's like I really, really, really wish. Now sometimes things change because sometimes things start off as a miniseries or as a limited series, and then it's like, oh no, demand got picked up, so they made it into an ongoing. Fine, and vice versa happens. But I really kind of miss the fact that they would, when they know it's a limited series, just put it on there. Just put it on the cover like they used to. But that's a little nitpicky thing. So that being said, everything Agent 77 said was cool. A character does come in, which I honestly thought it was another character based on who has been in the book, but it makes sense that this character shows up given the history with them and Felicia.
Right.
So, and they even say the thing that most people who know this character would know them for. So that was a cool thing. But I really was, just like Felicia, was expecting it to be the other person with similar feature. With a similar feature, I should say, that has been in this book. But we also find Felicia kind of going back to the first issue of this series in a familiar setting, but a different familiar setting, I should say, which was kind of funny. And we also find out that she speaks lizard. So that's kind of funny. And yeah, a couple of other, as Agent 70 said, Spider-Man adjacent characters come into play. One at the beginning, one in the middle, where that whole little conversation with them two was kind of funny. Because one just kind of came in to rub it in. Like, yep, kind of knew this was going to happen. And then they just have a little back and forth real quick. So, that being said, yeah, Black Cat still continues to be a good book. So I am glad that it's continuing on past these 5 issues that we're getting, however long it lasts. So... There was even a quote here that I was going to say, but I'll save it for another time. Actually, no, I will say it right now. So the quote here was like, some people's only pleasure in life is saying "I told you so" because they're only happy making other people miserable. Which honestly feels like something that was like, you know what, you kind of plucked that out of real life. You kind of making a real life statement in that one, and I see you, G Willow. I see you.
Absolutely. And like I hesitate to say this, but I wonder if this is a factor here. I think that one of the draws of the book are the nice Adam Hughes covers.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to be pretty popular when it comes to like hitting the stands and,
of course,
and pulling it up off the stand. So that might be it. But I'm hoping that people are also appreciating, the Gleb Melnikov art, while cartoony, definitely anime influenced, is what I like about uh, the art in this book. The faces are very expressive, right?
Right.
Every face is expressive. Even the standard, kind of rank and file faces. They're definitely done. It's a little bit Humberto Ramos style. It's a little bit anime influenced or manga influenced, but the faces are very expressive. And like I said, I hope that people are picking up on this book because and helping to kind of continue this run because G. Willow Wilson is telling a very good story.
Right. Right. Plus, if you want to see a draft in a tracksuit, hey, you might want to pick up this issue. But I will say though, if you come into this book and don't know what's going on in Amazing Spider-Man, you might be slightly confused because
Right.
because it's taking place in parallel with what's going on over there, and some stuff gets mentioned here from that
Right, not
situation.
strictly tying in, but definitely, like Roddy Cat said, running in parallel to and being, in a sense, based off of the events of what's happening in the current events in Amazing Spider-Man.
Right. And let's just say maybe leading to something that we will talk about later on in the news. So we'll save that for then and go on to the next book. And I believe the last book that we have. No, it's not the last book that we have in common. Planet She-Hulk, #2 of, actually, I'm not sure.
I don't think it says.
Yeah, it doesn't say.
Right. I don't think Planet She-Hulk has any kind of a number limitation on the series. I presume that it was a mini-series,
Mm-hmm.
but because Imperial is long gone,
Right.
right? It looks like Planet She-Hulk is a spin-off series that they're hoping has legs. So Planet She-Hulk #2 is written by Stephanie Phillips with art by Aaron Cooter with Scott Hanna. Colors are by Sonia Obak and letters are by our favorite lettering paisan. Again, he's busy this week. VC's Joe Caramagna. So this issue involves a direct follow-up to the last issue and what happens in kind of Jen's, foray into Sakarian politics or new Sakarian politics. And things go sideways, as they were always going to go. And we're still kind of waiting on the Hulk to return. So I kind of presume that, we might get to that point and She-Hulk decides to stay on New Sakaar. I don't know. When Hulk finally returns, because if I'm not mistaken, they were still working on him getting back to the planet at the end of Imperial. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, listen, give Stephanie Phillips some runway on this, and she'll probably tell a pretty good story.
Mm-hmm. I halfway suspect that this book is going to end with Bruce coming back, Jen actually giving him the punch in the face that she's been threatening to do not just once but a couple of different times, including in the message that she gave to him at the end of Imperial.
Right.
While she's sitting here counting to days, but yeah, it could very well be like, you know what, I've grown to like it now, even though because she has not been liking her stay here this whole time. She's been dealing
Right.
with it. But we shall see. Yeah, it has
Right. I mean,
continued
it's
to be
interesting. Yeah, I was about to say it's very interesting because the way her mind works is very different from how New Sakaar works and old Sakaar used to work.
right, right, and she has to navigate that to the best of her abilities. Which luckily she has a couple, so her legal mind and Hulk strength. So she's got, even though she. If there was a fight that happens in the course of this book with another similarly shaded person, which
Mhm.
if it was a real fight could have gone way differently, because that person was very much out maneuvering this, but it was a friendly chat. That's all it was.
Right.
So
It's
as
a
one would
sparring
happen,
session. Right. It's a
Right.
sparring session. So
Right. You know, if Titania was around, it would have been a similar situation. But
right.
but she is not. So yeah, there's like I said, there's some intrigue going on here. Just like, so wait, did you actually go back and read the one shot, or no?
I had intentions of doing so. I have not yet. I don't believe.
Okay, so yeah, so they're pretty much tied in up the kind of the stuff from that to this, because something out of that pretty much was the catalyst for what happens in the last issue, and it's now just going off of that and continuing to go on whatever story Stephanie Phillips and crew are going to say, so or going to do, which may or may not still tie into some things, because there's, again, like I said, some intrigue going on Sakaar that Jen's, I'm sure, going to get wind of or have to deal with at some point. So we shall see. Last book that we have in common is, Avengers number 33.
Avengers number 33 is written by Jed MacKay, with art by Javier Pina. Colors are by Federico Blee, and letters are by VC's Corey Petit. So if you were a bit restart. If you were a bit confused as to who all these people are that they're introducing in Avengers, there's the Ashen Combine, there's the Twilight Court, there's a bunch of people that are kind of Knights of the Round Table, Knights of Pendragon based. And, all that stuff is laid out here. It's very much a backstory / exposition issue, kind of flashing back on how we got to where we are now. It's like, how did I become a free person and or a hero, told kind of from the point of view of the Impossible City. And that's where we are now. That's very broad stroke stuff. I'll hand it off to Roddy Cat.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. Honestly, while I did read this, I kind of skim read it, so there are some things I still need to go back for myself and be like, wait, fill a thing or two in. But the only thing I will tell folks that may or may not interest them have to do with, a pity party, some bickering between this crew, and the origin story of the Impossible City, which apparently starts off as a sword ship, because if you're dealing with a Knights of the Round Table-esque situation, and also a Avengers-like made team of folks, which, put all of that together, then you get all of that in here. Now, some of it we got in previous issues, but again, like I said, it just ends up with, here's how the city became the city, and and now we got all the pieces back to in place, or the pieces are up to date now, because at some point we were going to get this information, or not, but JMK doesn't just do things like right off the bat. Like, oh no, here's this, and I'm gonna explain this right now. Nope, it's not gonna happen. It's gonna take a while. Let it breathe. And it did. So where do we go from here? Well, I guess we'll find out next issue. So, and with that, that's it for the books that we have in common. Rapid fire.
Alrighty, rapid fire review time, folks. Here we go. Incoming.
I ain't got time to bleed.
All right, first up is Black Panther Intergalactic number 1. It's written by Victor Laval with art by Stefan O'Neill. Nessie, that is. Colors by Brian Valenza, and letters are by VC's Ariana Mar. This is, just as Planet She-Hulk is, a spin-off of the events of Imperial. And the Black Panther is kind of back, while the beginning of this book deals with a quick status quo update. He's like, yeah, I'll answer the call when it's time to superhero, but he's basically back in the familiar role of the king of Wakanda, but in this regard, he's the king of the intergalactic uh, empire of Wakanda, right? So, some stuff happens here that may involve extra dimensional, interdimensional traveling, and that's kind of the setup. And there's always going to be a little bit of palace intrigue and political machinations that are in the background because it is a Black Panther slash Wakanda story all the time. So that definitely plays into what we're expecting out of a Black Panther story, post Black Panther movies. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you. Next up is Moon Knight, Fist of Khonshu number 15. It's written by Jed McKay, with art by Domenico Carbone, colors by Rochelle Rosenberg, and letters by VC's Corey Petit. This is the last issue of this particular volume of Moon Knight. We get to the end of it. There's a nice little closure with the current story dealing with the Wrecker and the haunting of the Wrecker. And ultimately, where we end it is a cliffhanger that leads into the next volume of Moon Knight. I think the subtitle is now Mark Spector Moon Knight. So, they're doing kind of what kind of disappoints us. Roddy Cat and I were having this discussion just before the show in our pre-production meeting that, it's just too bad. We don't understand why they just don't continue issue numbering, why they have to keep constantly rebooting. But I think that's sort of where we are. It's a little bit nitpicky, it's a little bit old-fashioned, it's a little bit get off my lawn, but at the same time, it's still, as longtime comic book fans and readers, it's still a little frustrating.
True.
Last but not least for me is Thor number 5. It's written by Al Ewing, with art by Pasquale Ferry, colors by Matt Miller, and letters are by VC's Joe Sabino. So this is the second book that I was referring to, that first one being Black Cat number 5, not a 5, but Thor number 5 has a great interaction and encounter between Sigurd Jarlson, right, who we all know as Thor, right? But that's an old Thor alias, right? With Al Ewing not digging all that deep in pulling up that old identity. We're only going back to like the late 80s, mid to late 80s, right? And it's an interaction between Sigurd Jarlson and the NYPD in an interrogation room. And the counselor at law in me is just like, oh, they're trying to pull all the traps and all the tricks. That's so dirty, It's just, it's just dirty. It's a lot of the tricks that you don't always see on Law and Order, but it's low down and dirty, you ask me. But at the end of the day, it's very well written. The art by Pasquale Ferry is excellent. And we have the return or the return, I guess, of the current main antagonist of this, volume, this particular story arc, in this issue, and it's a lot of fun. It's pretty interesting to see how they are approaching this version of Thor, because the opening of the book is centered upon Loki and Odin, and what Odin is really up to, and how he's kind of back in the story, back in reality, as it were. And so there's a lot of stuff going on here. This is definitely my click of the week, hands down, the Mortal Thor number 5, and that's it for me.
Not surprised there. Also, funny enough, not the only time, as I told Agent 70 this week, that a couple of Thor aliases show up this week, because in Omega Kids number 3, Sigurd Jarlson and Donald Blake apparently play a role in what's going on in that Age of Revelation book, which is actually the last one of that miniseries. So that's kind of funny. But yeah, therein lies that. So for myself, we are going to go over into some licensed territory, as tends to happen. Oh dear, and please don't tell me I don't have that one. Oh, I do have that one. And we're going to kick it off with a little Space Ghost number 6, written by David Pepose, art by Jonathan Lau, colors by Andrew Dahlhaus, and letters by Taylor Esposito. So, the Space Ghost team is called in on a mission that involves space vampires. And Space Ghost does have classically has at one of his rogues gallery, I believe, is a space vampire, if I'm not mistaken. But you know, the teams get called in. Some things don't go quite as planned, and if you're watching the video version and you see the cover, you can kind of see what happens to one of the team, which leaves the rest of the team to have to have to deal with the situation and the person that has gotten stricken, and they do, and it goes and it happens, you know, because they're basically trying to give the rest of the team, and not just say, oh, Space Ghost is going to be the one saved, because these other folks that are here, you know, can do some things, and you know they continue to show that off in this book, which is cool. So I believe that was it. There was something else I think I was going to call attention to in this book. Oh yeah, so part away in this issue, you can kind of hear, if you are a fan of the old Space Ghost cartoons, not Ghost to Coast, but the old cartoon, the old Hanna-Barbera cartoons, or Space Stars, even if you're of a certain vintage, you remember that from the NBC era, the NBC cartoon era, when those cartoons could come on, which had me thinking, like, I wonder if they're going to revive Space Cadets, but that's a whole nother situation. Anyway, you can hear let's just say the classic voice of Space Ghost partway through here, or at least I could, and that's just could be me, you know, the nostalgia strings kind of being plucked with some of the writing in this issue, which is not a bad thing. So I'm just saying. But yeah, Space Ghost continues to be a pretty good book. Just check it out. Next book is Star Trek: The Last Starship, number 3, written by former guests of the show Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly, with art by Adrian Bonilla, colors by Heather Moore, and letters by Clayton Cowles. So we are in a situation where this is basically the Star Trek /Starfleet of the future, in which the burn has happened. The burn I think being a thing that comes up in Star Trek Discovery, but I believe this is in the beginning of the burn and not where Discovery comes in at it. Excuse me. But so yeah, that whole burn thing happens. Starfleet's, you know, and pretty much everybody's without dilithium, because whatever reacts to dilithium gets blowed up, which is not good for Starfleet, because when all of your ships run on said dilithium, doesn't really do anything for your space travel. So they had to pretty much make a new ship out of old tech, and they got a crew together, as they tend to do with this stuff, to deal with, or to try to find out why this is happening. But they also needed some help, which came one in the form of a Borg queen that is of note from Star Trek Picard, as I've said previously, who resurrects, some would say, a Star Trek icon. You know, you probably know who it is. Again, if you're watching the video version, you can see who it is on the cover. And I say all that to say, to bring us up to speed, in that things are not going well, and you know, the captain of the ship basically was like, you know what, hey, this is kind of out of my purview, just because of the way things are now. We need somebody who, you know, who knows how to deal with this stuff a little bit better. So he cedes command to the person that gets resurrected, and that person kind of gets back into his old habits, but also, you know, dealing with who we have to deal with and who we are dealing with this, has some sort of familiar with, in a way. but that familiarity kind of only gets him so far because apparently, you know, the folks that are trying to take that are trying to make something out of the situation may be doing things for a reason, but they are not the ones that are behind the burn potentially. But like I said, I assume we are going to have the resurrected character, which I should just go ahead and say because at this point, you know, it's not that big of a spoiler, but also, you know, just in case, you know, is going to basically be dealing with some old things that he's been dealing with even in the movies. So we shall see what happens with that as this book continues to go on. The only other thing I can say is that the character that got resurrected basically sends off the former character dang near to his death, but you know the former character captain, you know what, pretty smart on his own right, and also apparently they have pin particles in this version of the universe because somebody makes a particularly non-Starfleet weapon grow into something that it normally doesn't do. So which ends up saving the day. So hey, it worked out one way or the other. And somebody apparently gets their wish at the end of this, and because the resurrected character gets into another habit that character is known for doing during the course of them being alive, you know, and also has to do with green ladies. So you know, go figure. Next up, we go to the Speed Racer corner with. Oh, I did not get that. I did not get that one. Oh well. Racer X number 4 is my next book, and that is written by Mark Russell, with art by Nuno Platti, colors by Giada Marchisio, and letters by Buddy Bedoin. So we get a little bit more, Racer X lore with this, dealing with, if you know who Racer X in the Speed Racer canon, then I don't need to have to say too much about it. But also, we get some current things as he's still trying to help Speed Racer out because Speed Racer's kind of in trouble, and Speed Racer doesn't know who he is. But we also get, like I said, some stuff in the past. We also find out that Speed Racer's little brother, Sprito, apparently got some of his habits from somewhere, as we find out. And of course, the whole time, Racer X is narrating, his thought patterns during the whole thing, almost as like he was going to say, when you're a spy, if you know where that comes from, but it doesn't actually say that. But leanings nonetheless. Last but not least, for myself, we go back to the DC corner with Titans number 30, written by, John Layman, with art and colors by Pete Woods, inks by Bruno Abdias, and letters by Wes Abbott. So this is another DC K.O. fight month thing. This actually is round 4, so this is the book that technically you would read before the book that we talked about earlier with the Harley Quinn, the Zatanna book. And this one is basically Cyborg versus Swamp Thing. And actually, I forgot to put the thing over here, so let me just do that. Bap. So yeah, it's Cyborg versus Swamp Thing. Cyborg's not narrating because this is a Titans book, but we do get some other Titans showing up because they do cut to what's going on Earth and what they're dealing with. And apparently I did not know Superman, aka John Kent, is a Titan now, or Titans adjacent, or basically at least in this book. I don't know, because I have not been keeping up with the Titans book. As like I said, the rest of the Titans kind of deal with what's going on Earth, and one family member close to the Titan, one of the Titans, kind of shows up and reads them because of wanting to help out, and the person being all parental and had to concede because of what they said. And then of course we also cut to some stuff just like we did, which we forgot to mention in the Harley Quinn Zatanna book. They also cut to what's going on the Watchtower with, as I'm starting to call them, Booster Side. So all of that happens, and this is another book which is why I was asking Agent 70 earlier, does all of these books end up going to 3 rounds? And they do, and this one's no different. So, and that, folks, is it for me. Kliqs of the week.
Kliqs of the week.
So we already got Agent 70s, so we don't have to worry about that one too much. And just to reiterate it here in the proper sense, Thor number 5 is his Kliq of the week.
Yep. Yeah, but shout out to Black Cat number 5. Shout out to G.I. Joe number 16, and shout out to Planet She-Hulk.
In fact, most, if not all of those, are potentials for me, as I've said. G.I. Joe definitely is one of them. Planet She-Hulk, also another one. And also, Black Cat number 5 is also another potential Kliq of the week for myself. So therein lies that. I think... I guess before I even say anything else, so there were a couple other books that we didn't get to, or I didn't get to. In that Harley Quinn Zatanna book, Harley Quinn kind of breaks the fourth wall and talking about basically doing, being in a crossover that shows you your mortality. She also has another book out this week, Harley Quinn with Elvira. For Dynamite, which I don't know why her name is first on an Elvira book, and also apparently Power Girl is here, so therein lies that. So yeah, there was a crossover with Dynamite and DC going on there. That Omega Kids book, like I said, mentioned earlier, got some Thor stuff going on, but. That being, I'm kind of surprised Agent 70 is not reading Starship Godzilla. But, I don't think he's been reading any of those, so it's fine. But
from like the current iteration of the IDW Godzilla.
Actually, yeah, and I'm surprised because Strange Tales number 3 came out this weekend, and
I didn't get to that. I wanted to, but...
Right, and I figured as much. So, and also apparently that Daredevil Punisher book came out this week, or.
Yeah, I haven't been reading it. Maybe that's something that I catch up on over the holiday.
So yeah, so there's a lot of stuff that came out this week, and also VR Troopers number 5 came out this week. But I'm kind of I'm not caught up on that stuff. But on like the book I meant to mention was Thundercats Holiday Special in 2025.
God,
came out this week, and I meant to peruse it, but I didn't get a chance to. So that is out there if you're interested. But my Kliq of the week is definitely going to go with G.I. Joe number 16. I say I like, and I kind of had that while I was mulling it all over. So yay, multitasking. So that is it for me. Those are the Kliqs of the week. And before we get into the news section, let's get our first ad read. Excuse me.
Our first ad read of the night is for Blue Apron's meal delivery service. Blue Apron. Fresh ingredients and incredible recipes delivered weekly to your door. Skip the grocery store and make incredible meals at home with Blue Apron. Always shipped free right to your home. And now the listeners of the Comic Book Chronicles can get $30 off your first Blue Apron order. To place your first order with $30 off and to help keep our show free for you, go to our network website at cspn.us, that's cspn.us, then click on the Keep Our Podcast Free link at the top of the page. From there, scroll down to the Blue Apron link and sign up for your first order. Blue Apron through cspn.us. Do it today. And now we get into the news.
Okay, weird. Cinematic news is what we do about this time. Hey, folks, if you've been on the internet, you may or may not have heard the fact that there were some leaked trailers going around for a couple of big profile movies. Apparently, Avengers Doomsday trailer, one of those being, we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second, though. The leak for that have Marvel fans divided, apparently. So, not surprised, go figure. But yeah, Mondays, a couple of trailers got leaked and swiftly pulled, which basically mean they could have potentially been, legit. Some would say because of that, and because sometimes when you're pulling stuff that fast, you kind of know something. Again, we'll get to that in a second. But according to the Hollywood Reporter, 4 different trailers for Avengers Doomsday are reportedly attached to another Disney movie, Avatar: Fire and Ash, which actually officially opens tomorrow, but people are going to see it tonight as of this recording, which is a Thursday night. Those trailers are said to be rolling out on a weekly basis in hopes that Marvel fans will show up to the theaters multiple times. Good luck with that. But according to this article, the plans have been spoiled because one of those trailers that we will talk about in a second has already been leaked in a grainy, low-resolution style. The poor quality of that trailer, which Disney has apparently been working diligently to scrub from the internet, according to this article, and did, has led to questions, but nothing really leaves the internet, let's face it, has led to questions about its authenticity, yada, yada, yada. But the next article is...
So, Chris Evans returns for Avengers Doomsday as Captain America with a child. That's confirmed by the teaser that leaked. So that eventually dropped, I guess.
It did.
And officially, the countdown is on for December 18th, 2026. So we all have incentive to stick around for another year.
That sounds bleak, but yeah.
No, you know what it is? I got that from Kevin Smith on his podcast. So on his show.
Right. Which is also kind of funny because I've heard that saying in a couple of different places recently. So I was like, wow, that's bleak, but sadly true. Because I think somebody made a similar thing about music and X, Y, and Z and da 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 da. So I was like, okay, that's going to be a thing now, huh? But yeah, So the teaser's out there. That one's ended up being legit and posted officially. Whether those other ones will be will come out at any.
Yeah, I saw a Thor one myself.
Yes,
and we'll see. But listen, eventually it'll all come out. No, there shouldn't be a big rush to talk about all this stuff. It'll be in our hands, in our viewing rotations accordingly very soon.
Right, and there was another one for Spider-Man: No Way Home as well. So yeah, there was a couple that
right. I saw that too.
Out there. Yeah, but anyway, next up. Speaking of Avengers Doomsday, and actually Agent 70 just said it, so we don't necessarily have to re-mention it. But yeah, the Russo brothers were out there talking about it, and there's a countdown clock for exactly 1 year from now for the launch of Avengers Doomsday. So therein lies that. Next up,
Avengers Doomsday director's post official tease featuring countdown clock.
Wait, no.
I opened the wrong one.
Sorry.
That's my bad. Wonder Man partially serves as a prequel to... Hold on.
And I would say take this as /report/rumor at this point, because we don't necessarily know, and given where this is coming from, well, yeah, partially given where this is from, but given something that was said, might give some credence.
Marvel's Wonder Woman will premiere on Disney Plus this coming January, created by Destin Daniel Cretton and Andrew Guest. The series will see Yahya Abdul-Mateen the second play Wonder Man, while Ben Kingsley also reprises his MCU role as Trevor Slattery. So speaking with Entertainment Weekly, Kingsley revealed that there will be some scenes in Wonder Man that are set before the events of Iron Man 3. Okay.
So, which means we have to possibly have to revisit that again.
Right.
So
I mean,
yeah,
that makes sense because that was where we really got to see what they alleged was the Mandarin. So
Right.
that's where Trevor Slattery really made his bones before coming back in full force in Shang-Chi.
right. So I guess you will see him coming.
Right. My goodness. That dude played Gandhi. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. HBO releases first look at Kyle Chandler and Aaron Pierre in the DC Studio series Lanterns. So I have not seen this preview teaser / yet. But apparently, according to this article in the preview, Pierre's Jon Stewart says, "I've trained my whole life for this." I'm trying to do a Jon Stewart from the cartoon voice, so it's not happening. Chandler's Hal Jordan adds, "You're not ready to get in front of the class until the ring says you are." And somehow I read that in Friday Night Lights voice, even though I haven't watched a whole lot of Friday Night Lights. But nevertheless, you know what, you can check it out. I don't know where this. I assume this is on HBO Max or someplace out there, or it's probably out there on the internet at this point where this preview is. So, but I haven't seen it yet. I'll have to check it out for myself. So we'll see. But it's presumably out there. Next up.
In an update to an ongoing entertainment industry story, Warner Brothers Discovery is officially rejecting Paramount's buyout offer, calling it illusory, and arguing that the existing plan to sell most of the media company to Netflix is a better deal for shareholders. On Wednesday morning, the company filed a formal response to Paramount's hostile takeover bid, launched last week. The hostile bid provides inadequate value and imposes numerous significant risks and costs on Warner Brothers Discovery, the board said in a letter to shareholders. The decision ultimately rests with those shareholders, some of whom have already said that they'll reject the company's advice and tender their shares to Paramount for $30 per share. Interesting.
Because it was a $108 billion bid and they were lining their pockets. So, but also, you know what? Warner Brothers will be best served if they just sold it to Yakko Wacko and Dot at this point. That's just me. Next up, though, White Russell-led Monarch Legacy of Monsters prequel has been ordered at Apple TV from Joby Harold. So yeah, Apple TV is expanding Legendary's MonsterVerse. We still haven't gotten the second season of that series yet, but okay. Or was it second or third? Third, I think. I don't know. I don't remember. It's been a while. Regardless, so yeah, there's a prequel that's centering on Wyatt Russell's Colonel Lee Shaw, following his early years. Of course, they mentioned Kurt Russell, his dad, who's also on the other show. But yes, the showrunner will be Jory Harold of Monarch Legacy of Monsters and Obi-Wan Kenobi, and it's an untitled show at this point, under his Safe House Pictures, with his deal with Legendary. So, Legendary's entire. So it's under his new overall deal with Legendary, as well as oversees Legendary's entire MonsterVerse franchise for Apple TV, featuring both new and fan favorite Titans. Okay, I was thinking other Titans, not Kaiju Titans. Anyway, therein lies that. Next up.
As reported by Variety, Sony is set to acquire control of Peanuts in a $457 million deal. So Sony Pictures Entertainment and Sony Music Entertainment in Japan announced that they have entered into a definitive agreement with Canadian media company WildBrain to indirectly acquire all of the 41% stake held by WildBrain in Peanuts Holdings LLC. Sony will pay Canadian $630 million to WildBrain for the 41% stake, or roughly $457 million. The closing of the transaction is subject to certain closing conditions, including regulatory approvals. As a result of the transaction, SMEJ and Sony Pictures Entertainment, together with SMEJ's existing approximately 39% stake, will indirectly own 80% of Peanuts Holdings LLC, while the members of the family of Charles M. Schultz will continue to own the remaining 20% in a minority stake. We'll see how all of this plays out when it comes to licensing and future use of the IP.
Yes, indeed. And again, as I asked Agent 7 prior to the show, I could have, or I mentioned, I thought Apple had that kind of locked up because they were the ones who had, or maybe it was just a license just to be able to show the
stream it.
to stream the holiday stuff. So, I guess they're just trying to keep me from learning Linus and Lucy, and I don't appreciate it. They heard me talking about it.
There's an addendum at the end. Wildbrain also will operate an exclusive production studio for new Peanuts content, including the previously announced animated feature film under a partnership with Apple TV, recently renewed through 2030.
Okay.
So that's kind of the setup that they have with Apple TV.
Right. Okay. Right. And I still hadn't seen the one other one that they had going on over there. But okay, sure, I guess. I don't know. And now we get into some comic book news.
Meanwhile, at the Hall of Justice.
So Archie, Sabrina the Teenage Witch get a modern relaunch with Oni Press deal. Excuse me. So yeah, Archie Comics is partnering with Oni Press. Okay, I'm gonna need this thing to stop doing that thing. So let's see. Apparently, in early 2025, Oni Press's president met with Archie Comics' head, and they chopped it up a little bit. And a quote here is like, "How do you take a character that is so malleable and has been put in virtually every situation possible in Riverdale and beyond, do something fresh in the year 2026?" Posited one of them. That is the kind of tall order that we put up for ourselves. The result of that meeting will bear fruit in the second half of 2026 when Oni and... I hate ads. I really do. But we need them. Ding. Anyway, being described as, let's see, when Oni Press and Archie Comics begins rolling out what is being described as a distinctly original and stylistically, reimagined slate of monthly comic series, original graphic novels, and prestige collections. These books will feature Archie, Betty, and Veronica, Jughead, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, Josie and the Pussycats, and the rest of the Riverdale cast of characters. It is also the first time that Archie's iconic characters will be released in a partnership with another publisher. Excuse me. So look forward to that. Archie will be written by W. Maxwell Prince, the co-creator of Ice Cream Man, and Sabrina the Teenage Witch will be written by Corinna Becco, a Hugo and Eisner nominated author who recently penned stories for Oni's revival of EC Comics, and drawn by K.O. There you go. And Fabio Moon is the one doing art on the Archie book, the Archie series. And then there'll be another stuff that's in this article, but we don't have to go through all of that because I'm sure we'll hear about them soon. More soon. Next up.
On Blue Sky, DC editor Chris Conroy revealed that DC K.O. will bring in yet another guest star from outside of DC's multiverse. I think we've talked about this. And
not this one, no.
This particular announcement is new. The new guest star, not announced at New York Comic Con, would be Sabrina, star of Archie Comics' Sabrina the Teenage Witch and the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. Decked out in a black top and riding a broom, Sabrina appears on variant covers for DC K.O. Boss Battle #1, which pits DC heroes and villains against the likes of Mortal Kombat, Sub-Zero, Red Sonja, and Samantha from Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, as well as Homelander from Dynamite's The Boys.
This is so crazy. But hey, you know what? I hope it works out for him.
Yeah.
So, which means, we got Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and we also, as far as we know right now, still have Zatanna in place. So I feel like there's probably going to be a meeting of those two coming up. Who's to say? But that just seems inevitable. We'll see. Next up, though, North and Goodry on The Flash, Bromble and Basri on New Titans beginning in March. I believe this solicits are coming up, and I don't have them in the show notes yet, but hopefully they will be by the time this goes out on audio form. So yeah, there's going to be another Flash book that's helmed by Ryan North and Gavin Grudry, and while the renamed New Titans will come from the team of writer Tate Bromble, who's doing Batgirl, excuse me, thank you, and Sammy Basri as the artist. So, and then there's solicits for both of those books, which will go on sale in March. So, cool on them. Next up. Actually, excuse me. Look for both. That's going to be Flash 31 and New Titans 33 in March. So next up,
alrighty. DC Next Level begins in March 2026. Yeah, so we're getting close to solicitations for March. I think we've gotten some of that stuff already. In last week's news as well. DC Next Level begins in March 2026 with Wonder War and Superboy's Rising. So we've got more on DC All In second act, and we're getting Wonder Woman entering the Wonder War. Oh my goodness. I was about to say, like, I don't like the song, but it makes me want to say Wonder Wall.
Oh, believe me, I was just about to. So I'm glad.
I really don't like that song, but but like I'm in a certain sense, I'm definitely a hater because I know that people love singing that and they sing it in karaoke and they sing it in karaoke in Ted Lasso. So, let's see here. Gotham is under siege again.
Yeah.
In the Batman series by Matt Fraction. And yeah, this these are some like mostly solicitation type announcements here. And Reign of the Superboys is coming.
Some Catwoman. If you're watching the video version, you can see me scrolling through some unlettered art, possibly covers and variant covers for select books. So there's some Nightwing stuff there. There's Catwoman, Batgirl. Let's see, there's Harley, Poison Ivy. Wait, Poison Ivy's the mayor of Gotham?
Don't look at me. I don't know.
I thought that's what I figured.
That's the problem with looking at solicitations. Like, if you're currently reading a book, you're going to get spoiled on some things.
Right, but I thought that was already a thing in the Fraction book. Because I know you were reading, you kind of mentioned as much, but yeah, I didn't look into it any further either. So, Reign of the Superboys, there you go. There's that character again coming back for some reason. Yeah, so stuff, folks. There's stuff and things and stuff and things and stuff and things. DC is, let's say, going.
Yeah, listen, I'm already out of. Yeah, exactly. I was going to say I'm already in a tizzy over Commissioner Vandal Savage in the Gotham Police Department. I'm like, what the?
Oh, that's who it is. Oh, yeah. No, that's what you were talking about, not the mayor. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but apparently a new development will be Pamela Isley as mayor. I'm like, my God.
Okay, sure. I mean, it's Gotham. The villains have already taken over. But yeah, this is see, Green Lantern Corps is right there. I'm still scrolling through things and stuff and things. And
listen, people will vote for them against their own interests because we are already living that stuff.
I was about to say have and do. Yeah. So are we getting a Justice League with Lex Luthor on the team again? Okay. Well, anyway, like I said, stuff and things, and if you want to check out all of that, that is going to be in the show notes. Next up, though, Superman and Spider-Man's big crossover will bring in some of the biggest names in the comic industry for a new Marvel DC anthology. And by the way, for those that are interested, again, source, not a sponsor. I believe that Deadpool Batman book is out there on Marvel Unlimited. as I got word. So, anywho's, okay, please stop that. So, yes, Superman Spider-Man is on the horizon this spring, and now we know the story details and creative teams on the on that crossover. So the main story is going to be Mark Waid with Jorge Jimenez. There's going to be will feature 2 lead characters teaming up against a pair of their arch enemies as Dr. Octopus and Brainiac, while a slew of backstories will bring together different iterations of Spider-Man, Superman, and their allies. And there's a quote from there. Let's see, we will have Tom King and Jim Lee, on A Tale of Lois Lane and Mary Jane Watson. Matt Fraction and Steve Lieber will revisit Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen and Carnage. Sean Murphy will take us to the future with Superboy Legion and Spider-Man 2099. Gail Simone teams up with Belen Ortega for a look at what happens when Power Girl meets the Punisher. That's ought to be funny. Christopher Priest and Daniel Sampier show us a time when Superboy Prime, who apparently reads all the comics, decided to visit Spider-Man right after he got the black suit. Greg Rucka and Nicholas Scott take on an exciting race between the Daily Planet and the Daily Bugle. And finally, we get the age-old question. We get the answer to the age-old question of who would win in a fight, Pa Kent or Uncle Ben. Just kidding. Those two, according to this article, just kidding. Those guys are too nice to fight each other. But Jeff Lemire and Rafa Sandoval will be doing a story with those characters. So there you go, folks. And then, of course, we got covers in this article and whatnot for that. So you can check that out, or you can just wait till the book drops and read it for yourself, as we will probably do. Next up.
Ultimate Spider-Man number 24 is now 2 months late, which is going to when it's going to drop at the end of February. That's how long the delay has been. It's going to drop on February 28th, 2026. The issue is the final chapter of Jonathan Hickman and Marco Cucchetto's real-time Spider-Man saga. Questions linger about Richard Parker's late fate as fans wait nearly until March for the conclusion. The new release is still a month ahead of Batman number 163, which was also recently delayed. That's Hush, too, by the way.
Sure. Okay. I didn't know that was still going on, but not that I've been caring anything about that. But Black Cat reunites with Mary Jane, but she's Venom now. And Black Cat number 7 details, apparently. So exactly. So refer back to what we mentioned about Black Cat number 5 for some of this, because we definitely hit it around to it. But yes, this is the reunion that will come with a twist, because Black Cat doesn't know that Mary Jane is Venom, and there was no signs of that in Black Cat number 5, which makes sense. So yeah, 7, and it sounds like Kari Andrews is going to be doing the art on Black Cat 7 and 8 for this. And yeah, we'll see what's going on with that whole situation when that happens. Next up.
You know what's fun? I was going to say, you know what's funny? This article mentions that it won't be Adam Hughes providing covers to Black Cat 7 and 8, right, but it will rather be Kari Andrews setting up a... Well, wait. Withdrawn. These are connecting variant covers for Black Cat 7 and 8 that Kari Andrews is doing. They may very well be Adam Hughes covers as well.
Mm. Right. Yes, that's right. Yeah. That's Kari Andrews is not doing the internal art. He's doing
it is right. Exactly. It looks like it looks like Adam Hughes is doing the covers for regular covers.
Right. So thank you for the clarification. Yeah, because I would have probably said that once I got down to this one part. But yeah, that is a good distinction to
Gleb Melnikov is still on the interiors.
Right. Yep. Next up, though.
Jessica Jones returns with a starring role in a new Marvel series. We have an exclusive preview on this Polygon.com page. So Marvel will publish Alias Red Band next year. It will be a 5-issue miniseries, with the first issue kicking things off on March 11th, 2026, written by Sam Humphries, with art by Geraldo Borges. alias Red Band, finds Jessica Jones tracking down a serial killer in Hell's Kitchen. To successfully take the killer down, she'll have to team with Typhoid Mary, the supervillain who often finds herself battling Daredevil. Okay.
But apparently, last I checked, booed up with the Kingpin. Unless that's
Yep.
no longer a thing.
Yeah, that's exactly. We'll see. I mean, listen, they're back and forth on that stuff because she was able, because her status as a mutant let her have gave her permission to go to Krakoa back in the day. God, it's so weird to say back in the day. My God,
I'm getting too old for this shit.
And it wasn't like that long ago, but in comics that could be ages.
Yep.
Next up, though, Wonder Man gets a new comic book in the show's wake. So Jerry Duggan and Mark Buckingham will helm the 5-issue series debuting in March. Because as we have found out about that Wonder Man series, it's all gonna drop. It's all gonna drop. I will get to the chat in a second. What's up, Matt Wayne 97?
Oh my goodness.
Who says friend of the show? Actually, he's family at this point, so but friend of the show, Matt Wayne 97 is in the chat. So what's up? He says, "What's up?" Also, let's go Knicks. Also asks, is Jessica Jones the same without Bendis? I think Bendis is doing this. Oh no, it's just Ever Humphrey. I mean, I think I say yes, honestly. Yes. Because I mean, it's not like people haven't done a take on her. Like, granted, he probably has some would say a definitive take on her. But sure. I mean, at least with Sam Humphries, she's going to get a little bit of humor in it, I would suspect.
Sure.
So
sure, and ultimately, I think the take on Jessica Jones is always going to at least be tangentially related to how the character's portrayed, how the character has been portrayed on the Netflix Daredevil series. And I'm surprised that we don't have an article on this, but I did see on my social feed today that there was an image of Jessica Jones, Kristen Ritter, on the set of Daredevil.
I did see that, and I didn't, and I forgot to pull it because things and stuff. Also, Matt says Agent 70's Simon Williams costume is coming out of the closet. You know what? We can hope. We can only hope. But yeah, so Jerry Duggan and Mark Buckingham is going to do the 5-issue limited series in March. They have not changed his race, according to, if this cover is to be believed. So I don't think we have that kind of MCUification happening.
Right.
But who's to say? Who's to say? This is only like we got one cover, and this might only be the cover of issue 1. So who's to say what's going to happen in 5 issues?
That's funny.
But yeah, March 18th is when that's going to be released. Let's see, and of course, like I was about to say though, and it looks like we have come down on the date. Tuesday, January the 27th, apparently at 9 p.m. is when they're dropping all 8 episodes of Wonder Man on Disney Plus, or as Agent 70 says, Plus. So take that for what you will. It's confidence wise. But yeah, and it looks like 8 half-hour episodes at that. So there you go. Next up, though,
courtesy of Dark Horse, revealed on the Beat Comics Beat, the next entry in Dark Horse's Marvel collaboration bullpen books will be The Art of the Mighty Thor, a 200-page celebration of Jack Kirby and Walt Simonson's run on the God of Thunder series, edited by Ian Shalgren, John Lind, and Chris Rayall. The hardcover release will have newly scanned art from Marvel's archives, an essay, commentaries, and a new introduction from Simonson himself. The book will include 2 stories from Kirby's original 1962 to 1970 run, 1966's Thor Annual number 2, and Thor number 134. Simonson's 1983 to 1987 run. Oh my god.
I'm a bit too old for this shit.
Will be represented by its first 4 issues, Thor number 337 to 340, which introduced the character of Beta Ray Bill. Seminal stuff in my comic book history.
Indeed.
Oh yeah, hold on. The Art of the Mighty Thor will retail for $59.99 when it's released in bookstores on June 9th, 2026, and comic shops the following day. You can pre-order now.
Yeah. Hopefully, Matt, you're going to stick around for the next couple of minutes because I got something you may already know about or have and may not be interested in. But the last article that we have, it is not this, by the way, but Marvel Legends I Love You 3000 Iron Man figure up for pre-order or out for order, excuse me. So it is, if you're not watching the video version, then it is a red and pink Iron Man suit with a with a rose in his hand and a heart where his arc reactor is.
That's so funny.
Yes. And apparently if you're looking at the video version, you can see the inside of the box. It has 2, like a card would have. It has a to from, and at the bottom it says "I heart you 3000." Aw.
This was part of a big stream drop of Marvel Legends announcements this past week. There were a lot of announcements that we don't have covered today, but there were several new figures and new sets that went up for pre-order. And there's still going to be a few going up for pre-order in the near future.
Sorry, I was looking at that West Coast Avengers set, which I already have, but seeing what it was going for on Amazon at this point. But yeah, actually, speaking of what's going on for, this is a special release, not part of any wave. It comes with a special price, $34.99. So there is that, and again, you can see the front of the box right there if you're watching the video version. And yes, this article also does mention, I know we already talked about that. Some of the other stuff that, or at least the live stream that Agent 70 is talking about. And no, Matt, not Suicide Squad. We're not talking anything about Suicide Squad. But that, folks, is it for the news section. Before we get to the last ad read, though, let me go ahead and do a little close-up here. And actually, it would be helpful if I put the cameras back up. How about that? There we go. So I have a little show and tell here. And I'll try to make this brief because I know it's getting late. But first off, so a little backstory. I collect playing cards. So does one of my cousins. And I'm assuming he's not watching this. I'm hoping he's not. He's basically about to get a set of Outcast playing cards, of which I'm showing right now for the video version. I haven't opened these up just yet, so they're in like, this is mine. I also got a set of Black Panther playing cards. Also haven't opened them up. They're both made by the same company. I think it's Theory 11. So if you go to the Theory 11 site, you can check out these and other themed card sets that you have. We'll see. Put it somewhere. Also, speaking of cards, we have, I did not know this was a thing, but Uno Transformers deck that they have. Because Uno has the, actually I did, because I think Agent 70 and I was talking about this when we were perusing the Marcel site. So I finally picked up a copy of that. Those playing cards decks, they do. I actually saw I saw them out there on the site, and I was like, oh, I need these. So, and there's might be a couple of other ones that I might end up getting off of the Theory 11 site. Originally I went looking for the Super 7 MF Doom figure. I don't know how I ended up on that site, this site for cards, but I ended up on, but I went to Super 7 because I was looking for some figures. Go figure. Don't. But yeah, the Transformers playing card, and actually, which goes into the next and last thing that I have, which unfortunately is very big. Oh God. Oh, ouch. Oh, Jesus Christ. So I got my Kickstarter for the Transformers Compendium set. And it just came in the mail. So these are the, if you can see that. So there's the set of cards. These are, let's see. Yeah, these are the Autobots cards that would be on the back of the box. You know, that shows all their stats.
Cards.
Yeah.
Right.
I believe there's a group of 5 in here, and there's also a set for the Decepticons, which I also got into.
I swear to God, they look like candy bars.
They do. They really, really do. I haven't opened these up yet, as you see. I should open them up real quick. Okay, I don't know what this one is. This is another one, I think. Or unless this is the red strip that you...
I was about to say, that's my late night munchies coming out right now. Those look like candy bars.
Right. So this is another, but I don't know what this one is. I can't remember. Oh, Matt says still waiting for his. Okay, I got you. Let's see. So I also got the Autobot patch.
Oh, nice.
Autobot sticker. Let's see. We have, I think this is a bookmark. There we go. You got Starscream on one side, Bumblebee on the other. I apologize for not putting down my virtual thing, but y'all don't need to see this in here. We have Grimlock, which I forgot what this was, but if you're watching the video version, you can see it's one of the...
Oh, it looks like it's lenticular, right? Like
yes, thank you. That's the word I was looking for. Yes. Can I get that in here? I cannot.
Oh, no, I saw it. It switched back and forth between...
Yeah, I know, but it's kind of hard to pick up. There we go.
Yeah, there you go.
So that's Grimlock. There was another one with... Who is this? This is... Jazz?
Yeah.
So there you go. Robot mode to car. And... I don't remember what the heck this is, but this looks like a I think these are art cards actually. So there's a Starscream, and there's a couple more in here, but I haven't opened this up yet. So there is that. Oh wow! Okay, there's Autobot pin. So I know there are pin collectors out there. No, you cannot have it. There is another pin with the with the Autobot symbol on it. There's that. That's a lot of stuff. Is another tech spec card. One of them's probably Decepticon, and the other's probably Autobot. I can't remember everything I got in here. There is, I believe, I will open this up because I believe these are reissues of books. Yep. So there's a reissue of find it.
Oh, I remember that. I think I own that. First printing. Transformers number 4 or 5.
I do too. Yep. There we go. That's close enough. Transformers number 5 reprint. There's also another one for number 2.
Oh, my copy of that is all beat up. I read the hell out of that because Spidey's in that issue.
And this, yes, you're right, because you can, actually, weirdly enough, hold on, oh wait, this is from the miniseries.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they don't have Spidey, because I think, wasn't Spidey on the cover?
He was on the cover. They took him out because they probably don't have the license for it.
Right. So, yeah, and I apologize, it's kind of hard to see this because of the way I have to show this, but...
He definitely was on the cover in black suit.
Yes, black suit. Yep, you're absolutely right. And... Transformers number 67.
Oh.
Which I feel like I have a fairly complete run of this. I may or may be missing 1 or 2 issues. I don't remember if I ever had this one. So there are those. And of course, last but not least, if I can find a place to put this stuff. Oh God. Actually, I'm probably not going to take this book out of here because holy hell, the compendiums themselves. And I can't take these out of there because I don't have my blade with me, or I don't have a thing with me. But take my word for it. There's a whole big ass box of compendiums, and damn, this thing is heavy.
Wow.
So maybe I'll put some pictures up on Instagram. But I've seen these compendiums at my store. So who already had them? I don't think they had them. Yeah, I think they just had at some point just had them. Was selling them or something. I can't remember. But yeah, that is it. I wish I had thought about it. I would have opened up this other box prior to this. But like I said, maybe I'll put some pictures of it on Instagram. You can check the compendiums out there. I just need to find a place to put the stuff. Because my other box with the G.I. Joe compendiums is right outside of this door in the hall on some stuff. And the wife's like, you better move this shit at some point. And I said, I'll move it when I get ready to. Damn it. And then she said...
Listen, it's not easy. I'm under not the same pressure,
Right.
but I have a similar situation here where I have stacks of action figures of Marvel Legends and whatnot. I just need to unbox and put away and sort.
Same, and maybe hopefully in the next couple of weeks I will be able to make some headway on a lot of that stuff. But actually, no, my wife's all right about it. She understands, sort of, but at some point I will have to absolutely move this stuff. Or move the stuff. So that will happen. But yeah, that was my haul from the Kickstarter stuff. And yeah, I'm looking forward to kind of cracking this open at some place, and hopefully, more importantly, having a place to put all this stuff.
Right.
That is the main thing. Like I said, these tech spec cards I probably will open at some point. And again, like I said, put them out on put pictures out on Instagram or whatnot. So just in case people are interested in checking that out. But that, folks, and make sure I got everything, is it for my show and tell. Matt says, wow, definitely getting one of those G1 Transformers Uno cards. Yeah, man, those things look good. I was like, am I ever going to get to play them? I don't know. They also flip, because it's like, I think they're two-sided, that deck. Yeah, because it says Uno flip. So there's something on both sides of them. So I definitely will open that up and take some pics or whatnot. Or maybe I'll do another video at some point when I'm in another place. when I can show them in earnest. But like I said, folks, since it's getting late and I am finished with my show and tell, and I'm going to get into 7 thing, we are going to get into our last ad read.
Our last ad read of the night is help us keep our podcast free by shopping at Amazon. Visit cspn.us, then click the Keep Our Podcast Free link at the top of the page. From there, scroll down and click on the Amazon link to shop. Purchase items from Amazon as you normally would, whether it's books, music, electronics, jewelry, apparel, or Marvel Legends. For every purchase made on Amazon through our link, Amazon sends the CSPN a payment that helps us keep the Comic Book Chronicles podcast free for our listeners at no extra cost to you. Now, if you shop at Amazon often, especially during this holiday season, it's a little late, but listen, there's nothing wrong with getting stuff after that arrives after Christmas, because it looks like you're a savior, and you get to drop some gifts into the haul a little afterward. It's okay, right? None of these, almost nobody cares that it's a little late, right? If you shop at Amazon, bookmark the link or add it as your homepage so that you can help the CSPN each time you order. Thank you for your support. Amazon.com through cspn.us. Do it today.
Hey, Matt, if you're still in the audience, how many boxes of Avatar Magic cards do you have, if you have any? And did you get any Jumpstart cards? But anyway, folks, while I'm waiting for that answer, if he's still around, because I know it's kind of late for him as well. Folks, that is it for the show. We appreciate you coming for coming out, as we always tend to do. We mentioned this before the show, but next week is Christmas here in the U.S. Well, I was about to say Christmas in the U.S. It's not like Christmas is not celebrated everywhere, but it's Christmas holiday.
Oh, he just answered.
Yeah, he did.
He rarely buys booster boxes. Okay.
Oh, okay. Wait, so you get collector's boxes, or you just get like singles? And you know what? Yeah, we'll talk. Anyway, but yeah, next week is Christmas. And Christmas this year is on a Thursday, which means Christmas Day specifically is on a Thursday, which means we will not be recording on that day. We will try to schedule out a time or during the weekend. It might be that Friday, or it might be sometime. It depends on how things work out. Right. I don't see myself doing anything.
Schedules are going to schedule. We know that we know how the holidays work.
Basically. Wait.
And it's kind of the same thing for the following week too, because New Year's falls on Thursday as well.
That is also true. Which, yeah, if it falls on a Thursday if it falls on a Thursday, then the New Year's is also normally always do that as well. So yeah, it's just one of those years. Wayne rarely buys cards. Wayne buys art. This is true. We do know this about you.
Yes.
We do know that about you. But understood.
Yes, happy holidays to you and the family as well.
Absolutely. And
why are you still at work? Oh my God.
Wait, you still at work?
Look at the chat.
Yeah. Man, if you don't get your butt home, what are you doing? Get back home to your lovely family. Come on now. But I understand you're a busy man. You got the.
That's how he pays for the art.
Yeah, I know, right? Right. But hopefully you get home to your fam safe and sound, my dude. But yeah, get home soon, because it's too late for me. So again, we call this man the hardest working man, and we don't. I don't know what he does, but
right.
he's the hardworking. The most hardworking nerd we know.
Absolutely.
We call him the nerd father colloquially, or at least we're starting to get that one off the ground. So we'll see if that happens. But that being the case, like I said, no show on the next 2 Thursdays, but we'll see if we can, throw something together. We'll definitely put something together on the weekends.
In between, right? Yeah. In between and after, right?
Exactly. Yeah, man. I appreciate you for dropping through. Wasn't expecting you, but I'm always glad to see you. So we're gonna have you back on the show again soon.
Yes.
Again.
Yes. Thank you, Matt.
So, always a pleasure, good sir. But with that, as I pull this up,
Merry Christmas, folks.
Yep. I hope y'all have a happy and safe holiday season. We'll just deal with Christmas right now, but no, we'll deal with both of them. Christmas, because we will be talking about this again. Christmas and New Year's, just get it all out there, and
Merry New Year. I mean, we'll have that sound drop.
Oh, we absolutely will have that sound drop. I already have it. Prepped. So,
oh my gosh,
Wayne would love to join in between show the in between show. Okay, yeah. Bet.
There you go.
We'll
Sounds good.
We'll let you know. We'll get that done. But it's definitely going to be next on the weekend. So we'll see. We'll work with you on that one. But in the meantime, folks, this has been the Comic Book Chronicles. Peace.
One.
My time is up. Peace out to Brooklyn.